Everyone, so in my classroom there are 5 strong themes that I think are evident. It would be clear learning goals, congruent diagnosis, practice, and first time learning. For clear learning goals, before I start a lesson, I always want to try to figure out what I want the students to learn. And in the beginning, being that I teach early childhood with 3-year-olds, it's pretty simple. It would be something along the lines of students will be able to sort 3 colors at a time. For congruent, I like to start with a goal statement and work from there. For example, colors. Say we're working on sorting colors, I would set up different activities in the room for our corners. And one of them that I like to do is taking colored pom-poms and paper towel rolls that I wrapped with a specific color, and they sort the pom-poms down the correct tube. And the kids find it reinforcing to drop the colors are supposed to go and then watch them drop in a cup. That's one way I try to make things congruent, is what we're learning at the carpet, trying to put it into corners when they get to make their choices, what they want to play with, but also reinforcing what we're learning. Diagnosis. It's really important for me before each unit to kind of figure out what my students know. Body parts, for example. Many of them know the main ones parents talk about, such as nose, eyes, ears, but they'll struggle with elbows, knees, wrists, and sometimes even fingers. So if I know exactly where the kids are at, I can jump to what they're needing and not spend time on an area that they already know. Practice. After the students have been working on concept, I like to try to practice them in the classroom and reinforce what they're learning. So one thing we do with colors is we like to play a game called Johnny Jump Up. And after we spend some time working on identification and expressively naming them, we put all the flashcards together. We have a stick figure named Johnny that is inside. And as we're flipping through the cards, naming them, when we get to John, we all get to jump up and jump. We all get to get up and jump, and then we sit back down and we go through again. And it's just kind of a repetitive process that the kids enjoy. And first time learning, I actually get to do a lot of this in early childhood. Sometimes the kids get a lot of their first experiences with me. So I need to take some time and really, I try to focus on making it as realistic as possible. So let's take oceans, for example. Many of them can kind of tell me what you find in an ocean, but they've never experienced it. So I try to set up some sensory areas or sand table where I have water and sand and shells and different animals where they can get their hands on and feel it and explore it and not just hear about me reading it in a book. There are 3 harder themes for me in the classroom. They would be stagecraft, connection, and mental model. For stagecraft, being that I'm in early childhood with preschool, keeping the kids' attention can be quite challenging. I feel like I do a pretty good job, but I don't use a whole lot of props and backgrounds, and with stagecraft, that'd be something I could probably try to work on better to help increase the attention of my students. Connection. With the kids, I do a lot of teaching with colors and numbers and shapes, and we get to letters, but I feel like I don't get to do a whole lot of connecting when it comes to some of the academic skills until we get closer to the semester before kindergarten, where I can start associating letters with sounds and things like that. So I need to come up with a better way to maybe start trying to figure out the connections for kids when we're talking about colors and numbers to make it more real for them, maybe a little bit easier to learn. Mental model. I feel like I do a lot of talking with the kids, but I could do a better job with really giving them an image of what we're talking about. The only time I can really call that I do it is with transportation. We talk about 3 different forms with the air, land, and water, and we make a mural, and the kids get to put up their project depending on what they picked, where it would fall on the mural.